Hey everybody, happy Friday. This is Matt here at the Home for Wayward Records, coming by to say hello and talk about a few things and ease you into the weekend, which I hope you've got some cool plans to do interesting things. I will be probably listening to records and watching videos of the Rage Against the Machine reunion tour like I spent this morning doing. Yeah, so what's new this week? What came in? What's some new albums I've picked up here in mid-July? First off, two brand new releases for today. The new Interpol album, The Other Side of Make Believe, just came out. This is the new Interpol. I'm a big Interpol fan. I love them. You know, even the latter year stuff, I still enjoy their releases, so I'm super happy that this came in. So this literally just showed up like an hour ago. I haven't even had a chance to throw it on yet, but I'm super excited it's here. So the new Interpol record showed up. It's going to get weird later. The new Black Midi Hellfire came in. These are, Black Midi is all over the place. It's art rock and math rock and thrash and jazz. It's literally everything all thrown into one, and it's kind of hard to tell what this one is completely going to be like. As I said in my video, I loved their first one, and the second one's kind of but I'm pretty excited about this one. It's on, it says transparent red. So new Black Midi Hellfire. I picked up some other things this week that just came in. One I can't believe I didn't have yet and waited for a while. It is Johnny Thunders and the Heartbreakers LAMF. This is the Lost 77 mixes. If you're into this record, you already know the story and I don't need to tell you. If not, the CDs sound fine of the original album, and the LP sounds like baked monkey crap. And over the years, there's been demos and different versions that have come out. The definitive versions, like 3 LPs, a lot of mixes, and sounds good. These Lost mixes were found a while back and put out, and they improved things. And then there's a new version that came up for Record Store Day last year that actually found some of the original master tapes. And those came out and they sound how the album was supposed to sound. That comes out again. Normally, like that was one, it had a year, it had to be an exclusive for a year for Record Store Day. It comes out as a Record Store Day Essential, I think September 3rd on colored vinyl, and that'll be pretty cool. So this is the Lost mixes, then we got the found mixes, and the original mixes, and the demo mixes, and a lot of stuff. But this record is classic and worth picking up. That's a good version. Two great compilations this week. If you saw my post this morning, Cafe XL, New Adventures in European Music, 72 to 80. This is the imaginary soundtrack to David Bowie and Iggy Pop's stay in West Berlin, and especially at the things you would hear maybe at Cafe XL during that time. These are everything from Motoric and Krautrock, and Soft Machine is on here, and Brian Eno and Faust and Steve Hillage and Edgar Fries and Cortex, Popol Vuh. God, this record is good. I listened to it this morning and then wanted to just listen to it over and over and over and over and over again. And I had to go to work and do some computer training, and it was terrible. And I just wanted to come home and listen to this. And it's weird and interesting and soothing and gorgeous and strange and German. And it's absolutely fabulous. It's on Ace Records, and they do an amazing job. Like the liner notes and everything are super cool, and which album it's from and a little backstory and everything else. This is on, and I don't normally recommend Spotify, but if you're wondering what the hell this is like, if you look this up, this is on Spotify and you can listen to all these songs, and it is absolutely amazing and worth picking up. That one came in. It's from 2020, that comp. This comp is from 1972 Nuggets, and it is original artifacts from the first psychedelic era, 65 to 68. This is one of the probably most famous compilation albums of all time. It's put together by Lenny Kaye, and it's all songs from the mid-60s that are kind of, you know, proto-punk and psychedelia, and it's just, it's amazing. There's not a bad track in this bunch. Pushing Too Hard's on here, Psychotic Reaction. I mean, it's an amazing compilation, and they re-put it back out for Records, or not for Record Store Day, for Rhino's Start Your Ear Off Right, or Rocktober. I can't remember which one it was for, but this got a reissue, and it's worth picking up if you love comps and want some music that maybe you don't have that is worth picking up, and it's old 60s awesome loud rock and roll music. This is a comp for you. And then my last one, I finally found a used copy of Elton John 1770, which is a live record he put out, kind of waiting for Tumbleweed Connection to come out. Early in his career, there's some covers on here. The band is incredible. Even Elton says this is his favorite live record that he did, and I can see why. It's an amazing testament to how good that band was. Dee Murray and Nigel Olsson and him. It's just an amazing live record. I'm glad to finally have a copy of this. I also got, and I had it unrolled earlier, I'm not going to roll it. I finally got in my Wilco Yankee Hotel Foxtrot We Were Touring to Break Your Heart poster from Chicago in. If you know anything about these, the posters for these Yankee Hotel shows were amazing and were super limited. And like all these things do, and it pisses me off, like Pearl Jam does it and a lot of other bands, when they do the posters are real limited, and I get that, but fans want some of this stuff, and they get to be basically just flippers are selling them on the internet, and they end up for like $300 or $400 or more. There's some Pearl Jam posters that are like $1,000, which is absolutely ridiculous. So the Yankee Hotel Foxtrot posters started going for a lot, and Jeff got really pissed off about it, Jeff Tweedy. So he talked to the artist and just reprinted a bunch of them and sold them on the internet. And that's awesome, because all of that stuff should not be, you're not special. It shouldn't be something that only you get to have because, you know, whatever. If you feel that way about stuff, then we just disagree. Especially if you're flipping it and you're charging people, you never even wanted it, you're just doing it for cash, that sucks. So I have the poster I wanted, and that's pretty cool. So yeah, that brings us to the second half of this, which is I put out on Instagram a thing to ask me some questions that I would answer. And I picked a few of them today to kind of go through. I really have 4 that I want to cover. And one was, what was your first record? And I do remember, just 3 different things here though. When I was a kid, my dad had a lot of records and was a big music fan. So a lot of stuff that would come through the house that I still like, Boston and Foreigner and stuff that was new rock then, but it's classic rock now. But the one I remember my dad buying for me that I really liked, and kind of the first record that I kind of felt was mine, was actually Jerry Rafferty, City to City. I loved Baker Street and Right Down the Line for some reason. And he bought me that record when I was a little kid, and that was really cool. And then when I was a teenager, got into records myself. I bought a lot of stuff, and those records disappeared with an old roommate, and I lost a bunch of them. There was some great stuff in there, and I don't remember what was first in there, but being a music fan and a punk rock guy in the mid-'80s, late 80s, you can imagine some of the stuff I had. But probably about 10, 12 years ago, when my wife suggested I get back into collecting records, we'd kind of talked about it, and I was like, okay, I'll start getting a few more. And before I had bought any, we were in New Orleans on vacation and walked into a record store, and I was actually looking at CDs at that point. And my wife walked over and was looking through the records and came back with this one. And she goes, how about we pick this one up? And I immediately said yes, because it's pretty awesome. And it is an old copy, and it is Misfits' Die Die My Darling. So this is when I started collecting records again. This is actually the first one we picked up, is this one. So this is my, not first and not second batch first. This is my this collection first. Misfits' Die Die My Darling. Bought in New Orleans. Way back, right after Katrina. So that's this one. So that was my third first. A few more questions. When I refiled all these, the question was, how do I file my records? And they're all alphabetical. All the rock and punk rock and metal and all that is together. Over here I have soundtracks and country and blues and jazz and swing and New Orleans music are all over there. But this and the other room are all alphabetical, and then they are chronological from the first release by that band through to the end. I think the only thing weird that I do, if there's a live record that's specific to a tour, I put it filed chronologically with that record. So Nirvana Live at Reading is filed time-wise where it should be. But when I bought the new box set, since Live at Paramount is from October, I filed after Nevermind, even though that came out recently. And then the box set with the 4 live shows, those are filed after that one. And then Live at Reading is at the end because that's in August of the next year. So alphabetically and then chronologically, and live albums are filed with their tour chronologically where they should be, not at the end when they came out. And that's just a weird quirk of me, and I don't know why. Somebody asked me if there's an album that I didn't like, but I like now. I think the one I would probably pick is Miles Davis' Bitches Brew. I think the first time I heard that, it just sort of escaped me, and I was like, I don't know about that. And I gave it a few years, and I came back to it, and I love the crap out of that record. I absolutely adore that record, and it's weirdness and different, and it's awesome, and I love it. And for years, I did not at all. I will say I'm not a huge fan of Miles going after that. It gets a little weirder, and it gets a little poppy, and then I don't. That's kind of where I cut off. There's a few things after it that I do like a little bit, but that's kind of my ending. And the last question. So I was asked, is there anything you would recommend to young collectors getting into collecting records? And I think the most important advice that I could give is buy things that you love. Don't worry about hunting down things because I tell you to, or somebody tells you to. Buy the records that you truly love, the things that make you happy, the things you want to put on your turntable over and over and over again. Buy those albums. Don't worry if you know, it's easy to get into hunting down certain pressings and everything else, and that's great later. But for now, if you want to hear it and it gets you to not stream it, then go buy a reissue of it and listen to it for now. Sure, there's probably a better copy out there somewhere waiting for you to stumble into it, but that's hard these days. It's really hard to just wander in and find records now. You know, a lot of the stuff that I have here and that you see behind me, I got a lot of this stuff when you could walk into a half-price books or record store and walk out with a stack of records for, you know, $50. And some of the stuff was, you know, ZZ Top Eliminator I got for like $1.99. And now in most cases, it's probably, you know, $10, $20 now, maybe. I don't know. Or you see reissues of like that Jerry Rafferty record I talked about. You know, I used to see that all the time for like $3 or $4 tops, and there'd be multiple copies. And now there's like $35 reissues of it. It's hard to find deals if that's what you're waiting for. Sometimes if you really love a record, just go get it. Get a good record player. Once you're through and you know you're going to do it, buy a good record player, put a good needle on it. Buy the records you love. This hobby should be about things you love and enjoy, so buy those records. And my last piece of advice is probably go listen to this. Go listen to it. It's amazing. Check it out. Cafe XL, Ace Records, New Adventures in European Music 72 to 80. It's that good. Okay, have a good weekend. I will see you Monday. We'll talk about some other stuff. Or Tuesday. I got to work Monday. Monday or Tuesday. And I'll see you then. Have a good weekend.